this. I can get in my own way or I can get out of my own way. And, I'm watching the business grow and seeing people have success. And, we're breaking new ranks pretty much every week. So, congratulations on that, because I know you all are driving that. And it's just really exciting times. And I wanted all of us to be able to capitalize on the excitement that's going on and break through some of the paradigms that maybe we have stuck in our head about what's possible, and how fast it's possible, maybe. Um, the guy I was talking to today at 4 o'clock, when I told him, from where he's at right now, which is basically pretty new. I mean, he's got some people on his team, but nobody in his enrollment tree. I said, well, literally, if you go out and put in about 15 on the right, 15 on the left, you'll be in Hawaii. You got to do that by February 22nd. He's like, what? Like, he couldn't even believe it. I said, have you ever, in like 75, 80 days, you ever put 30 people in? He goes, well, yeah, actually I have. I said, well, there you go. Just do that again. And some of those will break some ranks, and you'll be either there or you'll be within shooting range of going to Hawaii. So we're going to talk a little bit about Hawaii, because I think that still needs to be a driver for, if not all of us, most of us. But if Hawaii doesn't turn your crank, then I think you need to have some kind of goal that you're really running for. Because if you're not running for a specific goal, you're just not going to be as excited as you could be. Hoping that you're going to get to senior presidential director, or I guess it's called one-star presidential now. Hoping that you're going to get there and make good money. That's nice, but you setting it as an actual goal and run towards it is what's going to drive you to change and make our thinking actually change and become what it needs to be to hit that goal. So, Amy and I have been talking today just about some of the things that have helped us through the years, through many, many books and audios and mentorship and trial and error and all that. And one quote I wanted to share with you in the beginning, because I think this sets up everything for all of us, is quote out of a book I just got done rereading on page 110. It's got a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Nothing can stop a man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Everybody would agree with that. Yeah, nothing can stop a man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. But the negative part of it is nothing on earth can help a man with the wrong mental attitude. And that's what got me thinking about the business. The model right now is so good. Like, the way that we're describing it to people, where we're leading with the product and the technology and place your wholesale order, and because everybody needs it. Literally everybody needs it. And I know that's not the paradigm of a lot of folks on here. You still think you got to sell them a $3,000 cookware water treatment system, whatever you sold in the past. Like, that is not the paradigm anymore. The paradigm now is everybody needs this. If they're alive, you're talking to them, this is what they need. There's literally, outside of somebody just had a heart transplant, everybody needs this patch. So, and for those of you that don't know, that's the only thing they haven't done a bunch of testing on. They don't recommend, if you've had a new organ transplant, don't use a patch. That's a very small percentage of people. Okay. So nothing can stop a man or woman with the right mental attitude from achieving the goal. Nothing on earth can help a man or woman with a wrong mental attitude. So, mental attitude is it's a hard thing to define for ourselves, and that's why PDCA is so important. That's why having a mentor is so important. Somebody you can bounce things off of and hear different perspective, because we already have our perspective. It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. We've all heard that one, right? So let's make sure that we know what is hanging us up and what's not hanging us up, and we can see where our strengths are and where the areas of improvement need to be. So I've asked Amy tonight to share a little bit about just anchors and maybe things that are holding us back, and we all have them, whether or not we've identified them or not. You know, we all have anchors, something from our past that's hanging us up. It might be from 2 weeks ago, it might be from 3 decades ago, but there's something in our life that maybe we need to release, and you can't release it and have this attitude of I will until it will happen for me unless you've released some of these anchors. And some of them you just got to drag with you for a while. I get that. But some of us are dragging our anchors unnecessarily. And it's just dragging our boat down and we're taking on water and we don't need to be. So anyhow, so I wanted Amy to share some stuff and
You summed it up there. That's
that
perfect.
was your talk, huh?
That was good. Actually, I did get this, um, some of what I wrote down from an amazing book called Confidence with the Champion, and the author is him. It's a great book. I think you wrote that book, wrote that chapter, Cut Your Anchors, for me. That's their book.
For everybody.
Anyways, it's a great book if you've not read it before. Um, so he really did kind of sum up my talk, but I'll share some of the things that um that I wrote down. But yeah, basically an anchor is something negative, right, that has hung us up. It's probably something emotionally upsetting to us that we just kind of drag with us. And I don't even know if we know sometimes that we still have it. At least for me, there's some kind of revelation that comes sometimes that you're like, you know what? That's what I think is hanging me up. And I think us getting involved in something like this again is what brought some of those up for me and realized I was bringing stuff with me that I thought I let go of. Um, so failing to address the scars or anchors of the past is a major reason that most people struggle to have success and confidence they desire. And I can say that's true for me. Whether we hang on to something negative somebody said, we've had somebody be a critic in our life, our parents didn't give us the praise we wanted, we find something that we don't let go of or get past, or if there's forgiveness, unforgiveness, or whatever, and that ends up being this big wound that I think cripples us from having success or believing in ourselves or thinking that we can do something. Positive events propel us to have confidence and believe in our strengths. So, but I think most of us, our negative experiences are probably as powerful, if not more sometimes, that contribute to our self-identity or they influence our behavior, right? Like there's a reason that we have fear. And there could be a time that we failed, but a lot of times that failure is actually somewhat moving us forward, right? But we look at it as a failure and we're afraid to try something again because of some negative experience that we had, and that's an anchor, right? It could be something that, I mean, I found stuff that, you were teased about years ago, but somehow that stuck with you and that you use that to identify yourself in some way. Well, I've never been able to do this because they said that. Well, that would be an anchor, right? You got to cut that. And it's a matter of managing your self-talk. It's recognizing what those anchors are, really. And sometimes we're more shaped by the negative ones than the positive ones, which is really sad, that we aren't receiving more of the positive affirmations. I'm sure we all get them, but for whatever reason, the negative ones stick to us more so. Um, so like you were saying, it's a matter of identifying what that anchor is, and you might have to just start asking yourself some questions. And I know your book has some great questions. It's going through relationships. Is it a job? Is it critics? Is it bullying? Is it abuse? I mean, it can be all kinds of things. So
Let me interject here. To prove this point, how many, by show of hands, know exactly where you were at when you found out about 9/11? When you saw the planes at the building, you know exactly where you're at. Now, why is that? Because as Amy said, it's something negative. It's a negative emotion. Nobody looked at those planes and said, "Wow, that's really cool. Look at that." We're like, "Are we at war? Like,
Mhm.
what is going on?" I remember my gut just clinched up. Now, let me ask you this. Where exactly were you at on 3 days before that? What were you doing? No clue. No clue, right? Because there's nothing to anchor it there. But you can see how something very negative and powerful, a negative emotion will anchor in and it creates a memory where every time now you hear the date, 9/11, you don't have to see an airplane or trade tower, nothing. You just hear 9/11, it's anchored. So the theory is here that you can undo these anchors, and you can, because we've seen it happen in our own lives and other people's lives, but you have to identify what they are in order to cut the line.
Hmm. That's good. That's a good way to put it. So this was a really great quote that you had in the book. In order to make a change, we have to reach a point where we decide the cost of carrying our anchors around us is too great a price to bear. And isn't that the truth? Where it just gets to be, I mean, you really have to get to that point.
Mhm.
Um,
What's that saying? What change happens when the pain of staying the same is worse than the change.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one can make a brand new start. Anyone can start now and make a new a brand new ending to your story, right? So we can't change the past, but we can, I think we've heard it said before, like about a book. Here's your story. Now you decide how the rest of it goes, right? And that's a matter of like I said, for some people it's forgiveness. It's letting bitterness go. I mean, because that doesn't hurt the person that you're bitter with. It only hurts you, right? There's a lot of things that you just need to let go that hold us up. Um, like so for me, for example, um, for me, I just dwelled on like just a rough childhood that I had between alcoholism and abuse that was a big part of my childhood. I really allowed that to define me, and that was like an identity for me. Um, and really the way I saw myself, but between counseling and mentors, I mean, a lot of
Lots of
reading,
prayer.
healing from the Lord, but I mean, that was really, and a lot of reframing of that, I would say my childhood and forgiveness. So that was an anchor that it was a huge anchor for me. So it doesn't take away what happened, but it puts a new perspective, um, how I can look at it and why it happened. It does not have to define me the rest of my life, right? I'm not going to allow that to control me or, it's part of what happened. I've healed, I've forgiven all those people. I love my parents. I'll honor them. I've gotten to a place in my life that I'm very thankful for them. And, why carry any of that with me? But we see so many people, like I do even see it sitting in churches. Like, there was a time a few years ago where just some things that had happened with friendships and relationships through business that I was carrying a lot of bitterness. And that isn't like me to carry that bitterness. Usually I have forgiven easier. And I had this picture of myself. I thought, you know what? God totally gave me this, but I saw myself sitting in church, this old, bitter woman. And that we've seen sometimes people in church like that that know the Lord, love the Lord, have many blessings, but just sitting there bitter. And I had that vision and I thought that is not going to be me. I have so many things to be thankful for. I'm allowing these broken relationships and what happened to cause bitterness in my life, and I'm just sitting there brewing it. And I'm sure everybody around me at times could feel it. And I'm like, why am I living like this? Like, why am I allowing that or these people or whatever to control me and this and stealing my joy? So hopefully we can even have like come to Jesus moments with ourselves, like, wait a minute, this is not me. I know better than this, and like it's just let that go. And also, though, with me cutting the anchor, it broke the cycle in my family, right? It was like I drew a line in the sand. It's like, this is how I'm going to raise my children. These are the things that we are not going to do. And, we raised our family with biblical principles and a lot of love and, grace. And but it was really cutting that cycle. So some of you may need to do the same. Um, But whatever you may have went through, whatever you're hanging on to, I think it's just time for you guys to ask yourself the questions and what's holding me back from me being the best me in this? Is there something that's keeping me from my goals? Is there something that I'm doubting in me? Is there a reason I'm not calling this person? Why am I afraid to do this? Just cut that anchor and just manage your self-talk, ask yourself questions, even ask your spouse. Maybe you and I have had these conversations like, what do you see that's holding me back? And I don't always like some of what I hear. But my husband loves me and he's the best mentor to me because he knows me the best and he's not going to say anything that's unkind, but it's only to help me. And there's been times that you've had to say to me, this is between you and God. You've got to let that go. Like this is an issue that you have. And it was hard to hear, but it was like I couldn't argue with them. It was like I don't have any, this is just silly right now. Um, but I think you need to rewrite the script in your mind and rewrite when you're communicating to yourself and managing your self-talk. I think those are all big things. And if you do have a mentor or, you meet with somebody at your church and you do find these anchors and you don't know where to go, I would ask the person that you're working with or your mentor or somebody that you see has wisdom and say, okay, these are my anchors. How do I get over these? Is there a book I need to read? Is there, something that I can do? Because I think once you recognize them and you want to cut them, sometimes you don't always know how to do that, right? Or how do I heal in this area? So I would definitely do that next part.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was really good, honey. This isn't meant to be a counseling session. Rather, it's to give you the tools that we use and we do use in counseling sessions that we use with each other. Um, and I really feel that it's missing today in leadership, and I want this team to be different. Like I don't want us to be a bunch of people that just make money, but our lives are falling apart. You know,
Amen.
I want to um, help everybody here make money if that's the Lord's will, but do great things with it because you are just in a really good spot spiritually. And I'll just tell you, all these tools and different techniques and everything we're talking about, let me just say this: the closer that I walk with the living God of the universe through Jesus Christ, the more confidence I have, the easier it is for me to pick up the phone or whatever. I mean, I just have way more confidence in what I'm doing because I know that God has called me to do this.
Mhm.
And to Amy's point, managing our self-talk is a big one. So this is our first interactive question, and I would love however many people want to answer this. Um, but we really get what we look for. So let me ask you this: Do you do you really focus on what you want or what you fear? What would you say is your primary default? And then some of that has to do with temperament, but some of that has to do with maybe the season you're in your life. Do you tend to focus on default to what you want out of life or what you fear that might happen?
Well, Tim, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, you and I've talked a little bit, and I don't want to go into the bottom of that, but I think that that's what I'm getting out of this conversation and I think that's the trend. Most people focus on the negative things in their life, and again, you and I've talked just enough that you know what's going on in my life, and I'm aware of it, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I need to let that anchor go.
yeah, yeah,
And I will say this, you all have been 43 years. That adds up. 3 and 4 is 7. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. And but that's the deal. I mean, when I was a kid in college, I had this summer job and I was selling books door to door. I was working 14 hours a day. It was crazy, but I was scared out of my wits not to work
yeah,
14 hours a day. And we had this little mantra: 2 for 5. In 2 hours, you had to show 5 demonstrations. And I did
yeah.
it. I mean, I did it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've been, so to speak, in the hunt on a consistent basis. I need to get that back in my mind.
Yeah. Amen. That's good. That's good. Thanks, Bill. We get what we think about. So what do you think about? Do you think about what you're fearing what might happen, or you're chasing after something, your dream? What do you think your natural default is? Where you at right now?
Well, right now, with this situation that I've got, which you know about, I know that's the anchor that I should be able just to kick it and go on. It's like, run, Forrest, run. It's like, I've done that. I've
Yeah,
done that, but that's
yeah,
50 years ago. Why can't I do that now? And that's, you know, after I got involved in this thing, I want to get rid of, I've got rental property. I'll say that much. I want to get rid of all this rental property. This is all I want to do. This is all I want to do.
yeah, yeah. That's good. Thanks, Bill.
Says James, did you leave?
I posted something in the
James
messages.
Halter, look like you unmuted.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I just posted something in the
Oh,
comments, I thought, but yeah, mine's kind of, I think Mary Lou posted 50-50, but I can be similar. I think when I have a positive momentum, and like progressing, moving forward, if I'm focused on the positive and the goals, but if something knocks me off track, derails me, slow down, then I can start easily focusing on the negative and the fear.
yeah. That's good. Thank you. That's a great way to look at it. It reminds me of the 9/11 thing again, right? Like you just said it, when something happens, it can derail you and you can get focused on that. You start looking at that. Why? Because a negative emotion is powerful. And, depending on depending on how long you've been going through the junk, something negative happen can really affect you a lot more. That's it's from The Ant and the Elephant. Y'all, how many have read that book, The Ant and the Elephant, by show of hands? Anybody? All right, cool. So if I have my facts straight, as you think consciously, the conscious thoughts that you have, you're stimulating about 2,000 neurons. But subconscious, which thinks in pictures and dreams and all that, that's about 4 billion neurons are stimulated. So your subconscious mind is way more powerful than your conscious mind, your quote unquote logic, right? The logic is what gets us all hung up. So that's good.
I think David has his hand up.
David, go ahead, brother.
Oh, I didn't actually mean to put my hand up, but I was going to say something along those lines. Um, I mean, it's kind of indirectly what you're talking about, but in order to keep your mind straight, I always try to read a book and always try to keep positive audios going in my head. Um, because if not, there's so much negative that can hit you at work or driving down the road or anywhere you go, there's negative. So you got to kind of offset that with the books and the audios. And every time I think that I've achieved a spot that I don't need the books and the audios, I notice myself sliding back the opposite direction. So the best thing is just keep reading the books and listening to the audios. Keeps your mind straight.
Amen. Amen. Especially in this day and age when there's so much negative out there. I mean, it's you get inundated with it everywhere. Anyone else? You tend
Yeah, I
to
would
lean
say,
towards the positive, the negative, the dream, the dread, however you want to look at it.
Tim, I got something. What you said earlier really, 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 really resonated with me. When you said it's better to be reminded than it is to be taught.
Yeah.
And you reminded me of the importance of reading and rereading and stuff because I think I got stuck in the trap of needing to get the next newest thing. And you run out of all the cliches and all the one-liners you hear from every motivational speaker and every different person you hear, right?
Yeah.
So if you keep looking for the next best thing, the next best one-liner, it's like, man, it's more better to be reminded than to be taught. That kind of I
Yeah.
kind of I kind of made that mental connection and honestly probably birthed my leadership growing journey all over again right now because I already know that I've been stuck and didn't know why I was stuck. And that quote showed me why I was stuck.
Yeah.
Because
It's a biblical
I'm always looking for
principle. Remember. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say it's a biblical principle. Remember, remember, remember.
Mm,
Because we forget so easily, don't we?
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Hey,
Tim,
Tim, I
I
saw.
wonder where, oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Go ahead,
I
Marianne.
just wondered where competition is in there for motivation, because I feel like I enjoy the community that is built here, and that community spurs me on, that I want to achieve through seeing where other people are and what they say. But maybe it's also the fear of being left behind, so I think it's fear and wants at the same time. I just wondered what you thought about where competition might lie in this discussion.
That is a great point. And it ties in directly with this. So, um, my first business mentor, Orrin Woodward, he had a great saying, competition creates cooperation. And I've seen people push back on that. Like, no, it doesn't. Competition drives you apart. No, it doesn't. If it's in the right environment, it will create cooperation and everybody will win together. So, and this ties in directly with what we're talking about here. I won't get into the topic of it, but I wrote almost a whole chapter on it in this book. Is if you can't celebrate the success of others, that's not their problem. That is not their problem. That's your low self-image, and you got some anchors that you need to deal with. Uh, like even if in the quietness of your heart you see somebody else win and you think, well, I could have did that, or if my guy would have called me back, or and you start making excuses and you're not genuinely happy for them, that's an issue. Like we need to be excited when somebody else succeeds. And it's a constant battle. I just saw somebody hit 3-star executive, and we're not 2-star executive yet. But you know what I did immediately? Congratulations, great job. And I checked my heart, and I didn't try to question. Boy, I wonder if they brought a group over from somewhere else and this and that. Like I ain't gonna go there. Like they did it. That's my job. Cheer them on. And put my head down and get to work. But there literally are people that don't want to see other people succeed because their self-image is that low. And all I can say to that person is, I feel sorry for you. I really do. I really feel sorry for that person. They have to be in such a bad place that they can't celebrate somebody else's success. So, to your point, Marianne, yes, I think competition is great and it's healthy and it causes us all to move forward. And that's one of the things I want this team to have. Like when we all go on a trip together, I want this team to stick out inside of Life Wave community. Like, wow, those are the nicest, most encouraging people. They're just solid. Like, in other words, in my mind, I see the light of Christ in those people. That's what they should see in all of us. And I'm not saying other groups don't have that, but I think that's our responsibility as a team. And having loving competition and celebrating other success and encouraging them when they fall down, because we all will fall down. That's important. I was listening to a guy today, preacher. What is his last name?
Craig.
Huh?
Craig.
No.
Oh, Joby.
To- Toby,
it's-
isn't it Toby? Toby
it's
something.
Joby.
The bald guy with a gray beard. He'll make Mark Driscoll look nice. What is that guy's name? He's really good.
It's Joby, but
Joby?
Joby Martin.
Joby Martin. Joby Martin. Yeah. Anyhow, he said, and I think this really says a lot about the what competition will truly do, because when you compete against and with each other, then you both win and we all build this thing together, whether or not you're on the exact same team or whatever, we're all on the same team, right? But he said, you got to have some friends that will do whatever they can do to get you near Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he talked about when Jesus
This is good.
was preaching in that guy's house, and these guys had a friend who was paralyzed, and they knew if they got him near Jesus, Jesus could heal him, but they couldn't get him near. You remember what happened? They went up on the roof, and they tore the roof. They tore the roof open, and they lowered him down. And he said, all of us need to have 4 friends that will grab a corner of that carpet and lower us down and get us near Jesus. Do you have 4 friends like that? And I thought, man, that is so true. Like, I don't want 4 friends like that. I want 400 friends like that. Like, I want a bunch of people that understand that principle so well that they're willing to do whatever it takes to help somebody else win. And for those men to understand that, hey, we can't get in the building, but we're going to do whatever we can do. I mean, they could have easily said, "Ain't no way I'm climbing up on that. Look at the pitch on that thing. We might fall through." They could have made all kinds of excuses, but they didn't. They climbed up there. They tore the roof apart. They didn't care what, and they lowered them down. I mean, if you think about, for us, we read it in the Bible like, oh, wow, that's a cool story. No, think about that actually happening for a minute. How did that logistically, how did it happen? Where did they get, did they have rope, vines? What did they do? How'd they lower it? I don't know. But I guarantee you it wasn't easy. And that's part of this cooperation that we want to foster in this team. And it's only going to be healthy is if the only way it can be healthy is if we as individuals are moving and developing at the pace that we need to develop. And that pace, if it's the right pace, will not be comfortable. If you're here and you're totally 100% comfortable, chances are you're not pushing yourself. And if we're talking about a rising tide raises all ships, well, we have to be uncomfortable to help the ship rise, to help the tide go up. And so part of that will be competition. So that I got kind of off on a tangent there, but I'm glad you brought that up, Marianne, because I think it's so important. Competition is so important, and we all need to celebrate each other's success. So, all right.
Several people put things in the chat, Tim.
Oh, they did? I thought that was only for Thursday night. I'm sorry, I didn't look. I got my usually depends on the situation, but I think my default is defensive.
Peter.
My case, not fear nor wants is more battling the same wasted life. Yeah. It's something that has got more to do with accepting God's forgiveness to move on. Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Accepting God's forgiveness and move on. As Amy was talking, I almost interrupted you, but you're on such a roll. Because many times we do talk about cutting these anchors and letting things go. We're bitter towards somebody or this or that. But what if I'm on the side of the sin? I'm the one that did it. So I'll pick on myself here for a second. A lot of I was an alcoholic. I'm no longer an alcoholic. I will never say that. I know the AA people say, "Oh, you're always going to be an alcoholic." I'm not an alcoholic. God delivered me from it. I haven't had drinking 25 years. I ain't ever drinking. I'm never going to drink again. So I'm not an alcoholic. But I was a drunkard. And when I became a Christian several years after, I started to think about some of the things that I did. And if there's a scale of sin in your life, I'd say this one has to be up there pretty good. My grandmother was in the hospital, and she was having heart failure, and my grandpa had long since passed away, and I needed to go out drinking. So I went to my grandmother's house, and I didn't take money out of her purse because I think her purse was with her at the hospital. But she had this big change jar in her bedroom, and it was full of quarters and silver dollars and all kinds of stuff. And I took like $75 out of there so I could go drinking. I stole money from my grandmother to go drinking. Like that's what do you do after that for an encore? Go beat up a Girl Scout and take her cookies or something? I mean, like that's pretty bad, you know. And I'm not going to say that's the worst thing I ever did, but that was one of those things that it came up years after. I think I was probably in networking and leadership probably 3 years before that actually hit me. I was just reading the Bible one morning and asking God to show me things, which is sometimes a very dangerous thing to do, right? When you ask God to show you something, well, he showed me. Like this morning, I prayed the prayer that Paul Washer says you got to be careful when you pray it. Lord, root out any pride in my heart. You got to be careful when you pray that because there's only one way you can do it. And so I prayed, Lord, show me any sin that I have committed and I need to repent of. And I saw that and I repented and I released it. That day, it was gone. And as I talk about it now, I'm still embarrassed about it, but I know the Lord has forgiven me. And here's how I know the Lord has forgiven me. It's one simple answer. I worship a God who raises dead people. He can forgive me of my sin, and he can forgive you of your sin. It's really that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate it. And if for me to say, "Oh, God can't forgive me for that," or He won't let it go, or the way I talk to Amy, or all my drinking, whatever it is, then It's actually a form of idolatry. I'm making this God that isn't capable of doing what I need Him to do, so I can stay in my misery. You know. So here we go, getting in a big counseling session again. So that was a thing that I need to let go, but I think it is a two-sided coin. You know, Amy talked about you got to let go of the anchors, things that happened to you, but also things that you did. God is sufficient, and if you truly take it to Him, He will forgive. It's really that simple. Okay, so let's move on to a more, I'll call it a secular. It still is a biblical principle, but you get what you look for in life. You get what you picture, I think it'd be a more accurate way to say it. I don't think we get in life what we want. We don't get what we deserve, thankfully. We get what we picture. And so some of you may have heard Anthony Robbins or somebody else, Jim Rohn. A lot of people have done this, but if we said, okay, for the next 3 seconds, look around your room right now. Look around and look at everything blue in your room and make note of it. How many things you got blue? 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Okay, stop. Look back at the screen. And how many got a couple things that are blue? Anybody? I got a couple things that are blue. Okay. Now keep looking at the screen. Don't look anywhere else. How many things did you see that are red? Peter, you got one? 3 red, because you knew this. 1, 2. Probably because you weren't. I see a red truck on the screen, Bill. Probably because you weren't looking for red, you were looking for blue, right? We see the things, and then here's another thing that we'll see things that maybe aren't even red. We'll see something that maybe is like maroon, and we'll call it red because we want it to be red because we wanted to win. We wanted to prove that I saw things that were red, doggone it, and it's really not. It's kind of a brownish red. And we start, adjusting our view. Same thing goes with you walk into a room and you meet somebody, and your initial thought of them, whether it's the way they're dressed, the way they look, whatever it is, you're gonna get an opinion of them right away. And I'm gonna use a very controversial one right now, and I'm sorry if it offends anybody. It's not meant to. Husband and wife walk into a meeting, and let's just say the wife has a well-ventilated shirt on. You can see a lot of stuff, right? The wife will automatically have an opinion of her, will she not? Ladies, tell me, you will have. If you're there with your husband and some lady ain't totally covered and your husband's got to be looking like this, you have an opinion, right? So a first impression makes a difference, whether it's positive or negative. And from that point forward, you got to fight. How am I going to treat this person? Chances are, if she is dressed like that, there's a reason. Something she's hurting somehow, right? Or I could pick a bunch of other stuff. That's the most obvious one that's accepted in our culture amongst most people, but it's just a weird one to me. That any behavior like that, let's just say this one, somebody who doesn't say hi to you when you first meet them, or they seem kind of grumpy or whatever, and then you don't see them again for 3 more days and you go back and see them again, you're naturally going to think that's a grumpy person. Well, they might have just been having a bad day. Let's turn that back around and put the mirror in front of us. How many times has that happened to us where somebody thought to us about us that we were grumpy and we can't figure out why this person doesn't like me? Well, maybe last time I talked to him, I was a jerk, or I was on the phone, or I just got a bad phone call, or whatever the case is. That first impression will shape the way that we see that person or that situation. When we make a phone call to book an appointment with somebody and it doesn't go well, we have a choice to make. We can let that shape how the next phone call is going to go, or we can say, you know what? I really don't value what they said to me. I heard it, but I'm going to move on with a positive attitude, and I'm going to make this next phone call, and I know the next one's going to go better. I've heard it called, I actually wrote about this in my book, the 5 why analysis. So if you ask yourself, like if you're afraid to get on the phone and book book appointments with people, start asking why. Like why am I afraid to call this person? Do I value them? Do I think that there's something more than me? Is this person, because they're a doctor or whatever situation that they're in? Sorry, Kevin, I know you're a doctor, but so whatever situation that they're in, well, they're higher on the social economical scale than me. Well, when I got into networking, that was pretty much everybody was doing better than me. So I had to get over that really quick because I was $1.3 million in real estate debt when I got started. So pretty much everybody I talked to, you can count on, they're in better shape than me financially. So I had to get over that. I had a choice to make. So ask yourself, if I don't want to call this person, if I don't believe I can go to Hawaii, why? Why? Well, it's because whatever. And then you can reframe those. So let me go through a couple examples with you. So I'm scared to call somebody and book an appointment. Why? Because the other person might say no. They just might say no. Okay. Why does that matter? There's one why, two why. Why does it matter if they say no? Well, if they say no, I'll feel hurt and disappointed. Why? There's a third one. Why will you feel hurt and disappointed? What's the big deal? Well, because it's tied in with my self-worth, and I've just always felt that way. And when I was in high school, nobody talked to me, and I never got picked for the basketball team because I got 2 left feet or whatever. I don't know what your story is, but if you get down to it, it's all going to be the point of going why. It's going to be founded on sand. It's going to be something crazy. Like there is no reason that you wouldn't call somebody about this amazing business, technology, whatever. I don't know that I've called 3 people about the business. I call everybody about, you just need to be on this patch. And I think that really takes the pressure out of the room, because I really believe everybody needs to use this, period, full stop. So if that's your attitude, then let's talk later about whether or not they're going to build a business, okay? I know that everybody on here needs to use this patch, and we all should use that approach as well, okay? So, all right, let's go one last thing here, and sensory acuity, and you want to call that a reticular activating system. How many know what that is, your reticular activating system? Everybody heard that? If you buy a red pickup truck, you'll start to notice that everybody around you, where did all these red pickup trucks come from? That's called your reticular activating system or your sensory acuity, whatever you want to call it. You get what you're looking for is the principle. So if you're looking for success, if you're looking to go presidential or executive or whatever, and that's literally what you're looking for all the time, you'll start to see it. You'll start to see a way to get it. And this isn't, just psychobabble mumbo jumbo. It's real world stuff. This works. Does it mean that that's all you got to do? No, you got to put the work in. You can sit there and look at a picture. You can put a vision board up and pray over it. And you can do all this stuff. You got to go work. You got to go put the action in. I don't read anywhere in the Bible that you just sit at your desk and pray and hope people will come knock on your door and you'll make sales to them. I don't think that that's a reality for any of us. If that happens for you, we'll have you teach on the next one. I don't see that. So your reticular activating system is very, very much the ant and the elephant thing. You get what you picture. So I want you to picture Hawaii, not picture your sheet with how many points you don't have on it yet. Picture how you're going to get the points. Like how draw the circles out on a piece of paper. There you go, Mary Lou. All right. Yeah, I got mine still right here, right next to my desk. I got all my points added up. I just added a few more on there. And I don't know. I guess we're at 51 points right now. So we're not there yet, but we will be there. And if you're not, and some of you might be at 65 points and, well, all right, I'm beating him or I'm at 12. It doesn't matter where you're at. If you're at 0 right now, you're at 0. Great. You know what it takes. Go out and bring in 15 personals on the right, 15 personals on the left. They're at advanced. Some will be higher, some will be lower. And you're about there. That's all you got to do. If you had to do it and you focus on that, you could do it. So, let's open up the Q&A for the last couple minutes here, and then we'll wrap up. Any questions or comments on everything we just talked about there?
Hey, Tim, this is Kevin. I've been
Kevin.
driving and lifting boxes the whole time we're on Zoom. So I'm just getting some out of my car. So I want to just throw in my 2 cents. Based on what Amy said and you said and what we just discussed, I realize my thing, it's not necessarily holding me back. It's almost pushing me because if you remember my story of what I told weeks ago, for me, it's like I didn't finish college. I'm not good enough kind of thing. And I push myself. I want to prove myself over and over again to myself, stemming from either low self-esteem or lack of accomplishment. And that motivation sometimes is too much. Like that drive is overpowering and overbearing. And I look back at my life, I'm like, did I hurt people along the way in the pursuit of my achievements? And so now as I've hopefully gotten older and wiser, I scale back and I say, okay, now can I achieve things while helping people instead and achieve things which are serving people, not serving me, but serving them and doing what's good for them. And that's how I've had to reframe things there. So with my reticular activation system, I look for ways to help people. Now, we know what Zig Ziglar says. So if I help people, then I'll get what I want too. But that's how I'm reframing it. I've been so busy with other stuff. I just haven't put that focus on the business yet. But as soon as I'm on to my house and I will stop 21-hour days of packing, then it's all speed ahead for the business.
Yeah, I get that, man. Yeah, and we all go through seasons, that's really good. I appreciate that. But it's good. You just have to be self-aware. Like, it's really this simple. It's simple mathematics. Okay, if I want to move on and I'm not moving on, there's a reason. That simple. It has nothing to do with talent for anybody on here, because anybody on here can say, man, you need to check out this Passions and Believer. There's 30 of them in a pack and play a video. Anybody on here can do that. So it's almost never talent. There's a book back there called Talent is Overrated. It's really a good book. And the whole focus is people put too much value on talent, and Tim Tebow had a great saying: "Hard work beats talent. When talent don't work, it's hard." And it's so true. So if you're working your guts out and you're putting everything you can into this, and you're still not getting what you want out of it, please call me. Let's talk. Most of the time, people aren't. They know that they need to turn up the work a little bit. And if you turn up the work a little bit, along with focusing on your dream, then it'll make all the difference in the world. I'm confident of that, and spend some time thinking about what anchors might be holding you back, like Amy was talking about, whether they're something that happened to you or something you did to somebody else, or whatever the case is, or some, like Kevin just shared, his lack of belief because he didn't finish college or whatever. Well, I didn't get a 4-year degree. I got a 2-year degree. So technically I didn't either, but I guess I don't necessarily have an opinion on that, because for me, I learned more 1 year in networking than I did all the whole time I went to college, about business, true business, So, Mary Lou, go ahead.
Did you have your hand
I was
raised,
going to
Mary Lou?
share a opportunity that people will have to do some reframing in mindset, is taking 2 or 3 minutes every evening and just in a 25-cent dollar store journal, creating a gratitude journal. Because if we would really think about 2 or 3 things that we are grateful for every day, no matter what they are, they will become bigger and bolder, and we will recognize all the amazingness that God has put in our lives and how we can share with people. It's really a mindset changer that ends your day with gratitude and moves you forward into the next day. It's helpful.
Amen. I love
That's
that.
good. Thank you.
Mhm.
I love that.
Okay.
Caleb, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say something a little earlier. I had texted you last week. I kind of ran into a spot where I think everything that you're talking about tonight is something that I was running into last week. Getting reactivated in, networking, but in something that actually works has been absolutely phenomenal for me and my wife. But I noticed last week that I was like, and I know the hurdles that I'm going through is, and I like what you guys are talking about, the anchors is just me getting in front of myself. So last week I was heading into a plan, and I had texted you. I think you were actually. I saw that you just got out of a meeting, so I probably wasn't able to get a hold of you. But I was like, I need like a 5-minute, 5-second mentor push me across, because I was getting to that spot where I knew I was the one that was getting in my own way, and I was the one that was defeating myself before walking in. So I know that with us having a non-Me Too product, that it actually works. I think the biggest thing is I was defending in my brain, like the cost, the value, the opportunity, all those different things when I know this works. And I just was like, I just got to figure out how to get rid of that anchor, like you said. And so I was calling to see what book I should be reading, because I know that it was me getting my own way. So this talk was perfect for the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's a whole chapter in Confidence of Champion, cutting anchors, so check that out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've been talking about that. I was like, well, I have it on my shelf, so I need to pull that off, and I have a couple extra copies, so I might have to be handing some of those out.
It's a good book.
I wouldn't go that far, but that chapter
It
is
is. It's a great book.
And
All
she's
right,
not the
any
least
other-
bit prejudiced.
good. Yeah.
If we bring them to Hawaii, can we get them autographed?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, maybe I'll bring a few copies to Hawaii. Yeah.
It really is
I
a
do-
phenomenal book. We were
I
listening
feel like
to
you
it.
should read it so we can put it on Audible, because I was about to download it on Audible if I couldn't listen to the car this week. But you haven't put your voice out on there. I can hear Tim Marks reading Confidence of a Champion on Audible.
I just said that to him, and he's like, I don't know if I said, then have one of our boys do it. I said,
Yeah, there you go.
I said, but I really want him to do it, because I said, that is our kids would always hear your voice then too. They would always
Oh,
have
absolutely.
that. I just think
It's part of
Absolutely.
your legacy.
The
Okay,
guy that
let's have
read
a
it,
show of hands.
it is available on audio, but the guy
That's
that
not
read it,
you.
I love.
It's
That's
not.
not me. I love the guy, but he just like he mispronounces a couple people's names and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'd never listened to it. I just listened to it this week.
He was a nice guy. He introduced for the intros and stuff, but he's got such powerful voice, like you really do. And I just think that you talked about maybe redoing it.
He said, Johnny, Johnny Erickson Tada. We all know who that is, right? Everybody knows who Johnny Erickson Tada is. He called her Joni.
Oh, he was
Joni
Tada or
Erickson
something. I was like,
Tada or something. Oh, dude, you did not just say that. Oh,
she's an amazing lady. No, please don't say her name like that.
Yeah. So you did record it somewhere, though?
He's
Yeah.
gonna, Caleb, because you have a great idea.
Ah, there you go.
Well, let's
That's
take a
right.
vote. Everybody that wants him to do it, raise your hand and say aye. Okay,
There we go.
we have a majority. Do it.
Thank you.
So it is
All right,
done. So
well-
it shall be done.
let's do this in Hawaii. We'll talk about when exactly we need to do that. How's that?
Oh,
So let me close up with this, and please hear this. I know you're hearing me talk a lot about Hawaii, and it's not because I have some kind of issue with Hawaii. Amy and I have been there a ton of times. It's what it can do for you personally to accomplish that goal and get there. And even if you have 0 points right now, which I think everybody on here probably has some points, maybe don't. Maybe you're at 0. I don't know. Since October 22nd. If you're at 0 points right now, I really believe you can be there. And so my ask is, even if you fell short, it's still going to be better than where you're at right now. We've all had up times in life and down times in life, and I've been so down in my life that the only perspective possible is better. You ever been in that spot where you're looking up and like, there's no way it could get worse. So it can only get better from here. But then you find out somebody else that had it worse, than what you did. But that was your perspective at the time, which is the key point. Your perspective right now is most likely skewed. Like, I'm so far behind, I can't do it. And you're making all these justifications in your mind. And I just want to challenge you to really think about what's possible from here on out. Starting today, draw a line in the sand, and this is what I'm going to do going forward. And if you focus on that, it'll start to happen. But you can't just focus on it. You have to focus on it and be willing to do the work to make it happen. That's the difference. And think about something emotional. Remember, we talked about the 9/11 thing. That's a negative emotion. Think about something that's a positive emotion. Like maybe it's being on the beach with your spouse, and they look at you and they say, "Wow, I'm so glad you did this. I know I was fighting in the beginning. I didn't want to do it." Something like that. like my wife. I mean, Amy's on board now, but in the beginning, she was not on board. She was hitting me with a board in the beginning when I got started. So anyhow, but think about that. Or think about just us all having time on the beach together, sitting. One of the things that I like to do in Hawaii, this is one of my favorite things to do. They make those pineapple. Anybody like ice cream? Y'all like ice cream, I hope. They cut a pineapple in half, and they make a big sundae out of it. They put frozen chocolate covered bananas in it, and it's so messy in Hawaii. There's only one place you can eat it. You got to go sit in the water about up to your belly button. And you just let the waves crash in. So as you're eating, it's dripping all over the place. You don't care because God just washes it off every few seconds. It's beautiful. So I want to have that memory with y'all. We'll get this on video and we'll send it back to everybody who are out there just eating that. And I've already told David that we're going to go to a Japanese restaurant. That he likes Japanese food. Well, guess what? Hawaii, there's all kinds of Japanese restaurants. So we'll do that. Like, I want to create memories, and I want you to focus on that and know that that's going to force you to grow and learn to train your mind to focus on the right things to move forward in life. This is not just about LifeWave. This is not just about making money, and it for sure ain't just about Hawaii. This is about how do I take the next step in success in my life for God's glory and for my good. Some of us, I think this is the question I want to end with. I want you to think about this. Some of us in life have to survive. That's what's driving us. We just have to survive. What would it take to get you where you have to succeed? There's a big difference there. And some of you might be saying, well, I'm already successful. Maybe you are. Maybe you got everything in life you want. I've never felt that. I don't think I've ever felt that in my life where I've had times of more pleasure than not. I've had times when I've been proud of some of the things I've done, but I've never said, I've done everything I can possibly do. Lord, take me right now. I've reached the pinnacle. I don't think I'll ever reach that. So success is a progress. So again, the question is, are you focusing on surviving? Is that what's getting you right now? Or can you shift it and focus on having true success? To have true success, you're going to have to look at something different than what you're looking at right now. It's that simple. And that's what we're doing. So we're not going to update you every week on our points, but I will tell you this. Don't be motivated or demotivated by us being at 51 points because, we're going to Hawaii. If the Lord wills it, we're going to Hawaii because I can tell you this, we're willing to put in the work. If I have to go out and sponsor all the personals and nobody on our team ever ranks up and we don't get any credit, we're going to Hawaii. And the bigger your business is, the harder it is to do. You know that, right? So if you're a one-star manager right now, you got so much room to rank up, you can get points for all that. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, Tim, you guys are executives already, it's easy for you. Opposite is true. Look at the sheet. Opposite is true. So everybody on here should really be saying, you know what? I'm going to give it what I got. I'm going to give it everything I got, and I'm going to go. And here's how it's going to happen. And just lay out your sheet. And Amy and I are happy to help you guys lay out a plan to do that. But I'm telling you, you watch that video, I put it in the chat, I'll put it in there again tonight, and then that sheet, it really is the easiest promotion. You do not have to be a double diamond, super grand poobah, double dragon wizard to go to Hawaii like in most other companies. You just have to go out and put in 15 on each side, personals. That simple. And all y'all have probably done something like that. You've hit some kind of goal, whether it's you cram for exams in college and you pass this test in college or whatever. You worked your butt off to do that. So work your butt off for this. It's your business and you can be in Hawaii. And if you fall short, you're going to be a better person because of it. But don't make that an option in your mind. All right? Okay, well, we got this Thursday. I know we had last week off. So let's build numbers for this Thursday. Let's invite everybody. Remind them that they're part of the community. Even if you think, oh yeah, they're coming for sure, invite them to Thursday. Let's pack out those numbers and keep that community growing on Thursday. We've been doing such a great job there. Just really appreciate all you guys. And anything you want to say?
Had a great night. We missed
Had a great night. Yeah, sorry it went a little bit long, but kind of an important topic we want to talk about. Hopefully it was helpful.
And
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim and Amy.
Thank you.
It was so good. Thank you guys so much.
Good to see all
thank
these
you.
faces.
You too.
Yes, it was good.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you guys Thursday.